Welcome to my team. Here, you'll experience the world of Formula One not only as a driver, but as the owner of a brand new F1 team. First things first, let's choose your character.
Finally, it is time to get into the F1 2020 My Team career mode. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So let's not waste any time, let's get straight into it and get this team set up and ready to go.
Great. Now, let's set up some of the key details of your new team. We'll start with an easy one. What name would you like to give the team?
So for the team name, I debated what to call the team for a long time, and at the end I decided to call it Galactic Thunder Motorsport, but unfortunately that name was too long, so it had to be shortened to just Galactic Thunder F1, which is still pretty cool.
Nice. Now, some kind of income stream is critical, so we need to sign a primary sponsor. Our primary sponsor will pay a signing bonus to the team up front. This is vital to cover the early investments we need to make. They will also provide valuable weekly income for us. Each sponsor has a goal that they want the team to achieve. If we hit that goal, the sponsor will pay us an additional goal bonus.
So the sponsor I ended up choosing was TriStar. The goal bonus is 4 million, which seems quite significant. The weekly payout is pretty good, and the signing bonus 4.6 million, so that's very good as well compared to some of the other options we had on the table. So I think the goal as well seems quite easy. As a team, achieve 2 points finishes during the season, so TriStar seem to be a very generous sponsor, so they seem to be the one to go with.
Fantastic. Now we've got a budget to work with. Our car won't be going anywhere fast without a power unit, so let's sign a power unit supplier now. We need both performance and durability from our power unit, but we also need to balance the books. We're going to have a lot of other areas to invest our cash into.
So for the power unit, I decided to go with Renault. I think they're a good kind of middle ground option. They're not much less powerful than the Mercedes, a bit more reliable than the Honda, and relatively cheap compared to what you get for the other options. And also I think a lot of people won't choose Renault, being that the Honda is the cheapest, so that you could go that path, or Mercedes and Ferrari you could choose for obvious reasons, but yeah, I think Renault is a good choice for me.
We almost have all the key partners for our team now, but we still need a teammate for you. These are the drivers available to be your first teammate. They all have their own strengths and weaknesses, so consider everything when deciding who to hire.
Drivers earn acclaim based on their performances. When a driver earns enough acclaim, they will level up. The higher a driver's level, the more acclaim they'll earn for their current team. And remember, the faster the team levels up, the faster our income will increase. The higher a driver's experience, the more resource points are earned to spend on vehicle upgrades. Racecraft is the driver's skill to effectively complete overtakes when opportunities arise. Awareness shows the driver's ability to avoid errors and incidents. Pace describes the driver's ability to set competitive lap times. Rating is a summary of the driver's overall skill level.
So our teammate choices are Nick De Vries, Guan Yu Zhou, Sergio Sette-Camera, Mick Schumacher, Tatiana Calderon, Giuliano Alesi, Sean Galeo, or Mahavir Raghunathan. So I think out of all of them, I think we'll go with Guan Yu Zhou. I think I've seen a lot of people pick Mick Schumacher, so I don't want to choose him. And also Guan Yu Zhou is a Renault junior driver. We've got a Renault engine in the car, so there's that connection for whatever that's worth. So yeah, I think Guan Yu Zhou is the one we're going to go with this time.
Looks like we can afford this power unit supplier and teammate. Go ahead and confirm if you're happy. Let's select or edit the livery we'll be running this season. We can add more sponsors to the car as we sign them throughout the year. And don't worry, we can edit our look at any time from HQ.
So I'm just going to time-lapse this part because I was messing around with the livery and the other looks of the team for a very long time, but hopefully it is somewhat worth it. I think the car looks pretty decent, as you'll see just now. The final look of the team, obviously the livery and sponsors and things will change slightly, but that is what the team will look like for this season for the most part. So yeah, there it is in all of its glory.
Okay, we're live in 5, 4, 3.
Hello folks, and welcome to the HQ of Formula One's newest team. We've been invited backstage to gain an exclusive insight into what could be one of the most exciting entries in the sport for many years. Now, we've seen a number of new teams enter the sport over the last decade, amongst their number Manor, Caterham, HRT and of course Haas. And while some have proved to be successful, others have morphed into different teams and some have disappeared completely. What marks this team out, though, as being something different is that its owner is also its driver. Now, there's a rich history of that in Formula One too. Sir Jack Brabham, John Surtees, Graham Hill and Bruce McLaren all drove their own cars in the sport, but it has become increasingly rare in recent years. What's very special about this team, though, is that while the team itself is new to Formula One, so too is its driver and owner.
Whatever happens this season, you've already made the history books. Tell me, do you feel up to the mammoth task of both managing and driving for a Formula One team?
Yeah, obviously it is a big task to take on to become an owner-driver in the modern world of Formula One. But I think we're up to it. Obviously we have, just like any other team, people working back at the factory, in and out of the race weekends, and all around the clock to try to make our car as competitive as possible. And I think I believe in the team we have.
Every team needs two drivers, but what was it that drew you to your teammates?
To Guan Yu, we saw what he was capable of in Formula 2 last year. He had some really great performances, so we're really looking forward to seeing what he can do in a Formula 1 car. I think he can do great things in the world of Formula 1, and we hope that we can help him make those steps into Formula 1, and he can help us both with the development of the car and putting in some good performances on track.
No one aims to finish bottom of the table. Who's the team you're aiming to beat?
That's a good question. I think Haas, being the newest team other than us, would be a good target, and if we can match them this season, I think that would be a very solid foundation for us to build from in seasons to come. So yeah, I think Haas would be a good target for us for this first season.
How are you expecting the car to feel out on track?
I think from the simulations so far and what we've been focusing on, I think we have been trying to aim for a very sort of stable and drivable car that we can build from throughout the season.
The other teams now have years of experience, both on and off the track. How are you planning to catch up to them?
Obviously I don't want to give away too much, but I have a feeling we may have found a few ways to reduce the drag of the car, more so than what we were originally expecting. So hopefully that can help us out throughout the season.
Overtaking is a key part of this sport. How have you ensured that your car can take advantage of each opportunity that comes your way?
I think the durability of the car will be very important, and that's another area we've worked on quite heavily, and I think it will pay dividends for us later in the season if we don't have to take as many grid penalties for power unit components.
And finally, which of your new departments are you most proud of?
That is a really tough question. Everyone has been working really hard in all departments, but if I have to choose one, I'll say the chassis department, because as I mentioned, we've been trying to make the car as stable and drivable as possible, and the chassis department is one of the keys to making that work. So yeah, we're very proud of what we've done in that area of the car.
Well, that's about all we've got time for here. We will see how this fledgling team fares in its first Grand Prix.
Okay, great, thank you. That's a wrap.
So next up we have to fill in this timeline until the car reveal and the first race of the season. So it's a very awkward 9 days until the car reveal, so we can only choose one of any of these options that we have. So I went with the chassis and aero focus, giving us quite a few resource points and significantly boosting the morale of those departments. So yeah, that's the option I chose for that one. And for the next group after the car reveal, I decided to choose the driver training to help out Guan Yu Zhou. That will boost his stats in all areas just slightly. Looking at R&D quickly now, we can actually purchase some upgrades immediately to the car. So we're going to go with one on the chassis side, weight reduction, and some extra engine power as well. So I'm not sure when they will come in, if that will come in for Australia or Bahrain or later on in the season, but I guess we'll have to find out. But now we get to the car reveal. Alright, cool. So we move on now to the actual Grand Prix weekend in Australia, and well, you can see we actually have some resource points to spend after the time between when we started and the Grand Prix weekend. So we're going to put some upgrades on the car immediately, another one on the chassis side and one on the aero side to try to balance things out, because we've actually got 2 upgrades to the rear downforce and none to the front, so we're going to try to balance that out for the future rounds. Anyway, I've rambled on a lot long enough about all this now, so let's just get into qualifying and see what we can do.
Morning, boss. Jeff here. Thanks again for bringing me on board. You've found a lot of talented people for this team. I can't wait to see what we can accomplish. Our journey to the Constructors' Championship starts here today, and the car is ready to head out whenever you are.
Alright, so we move on to the end of Q1 and we go P2. So let's do a restart and up the difficulty. I had it set on 80, which is fairly low, obviously. So I put it up to 90, which is what I ran on F1 2019 most of the time. And we're still way faster than we should be, because that was actually a pretty terrible lap that I set in that session. So another restart, we bump it up to 95, and we go P3. So another restart, we put the difficulty up to 100, miles higher than I've ever set it in F1 2019. And we will go again. And this is now in the legendary range of the difficulty setting. That is insane. I've never ever set it that high, other than maybe some experiment videos. But anyway, let's get into it and get this qualifying lap underway. So through turns 1 and 2 fairly cleanly, and now DRS open on the run to turn 3. If we get a clean lap in, we should be just bordering on the edge of Q2, I think. Maybe, we'll see. But let's just see where the pace is at. But I think in theory now we should be fairly close to where we should be. I've always been better at qualifying than in the race, so I'm not too worried if we have a more decent qualifying than maybe we should, because the race pace I know will never be as good as my qualifying pace. That's just the way it is for me. But anyway, continuing on through the lap now, actually getting it fairly clean so far, and this is being a fairly decent lap. Really nice actually through the chicane there, and probably the best I've gone through there all weekend up until this point, all through practice and all the other attempts of qualifying. I've found that corner really awkward, but a little bit wide there going through the third sector. But if we get the rest of the lap hooked up, I think we should be pretty good to set a near optimal time for this car. A little bit on the grass maybe on the entry to the last corner. Not going to slow us down too much though, as we run to the finish line, and we go P2, which was concerning, but that's only because not many people have actually set their lap times yet. So we will drop down the order as the session goes on. But we go on to the end of the session, and we don't drop down that much. We're still in 8th place, but there is a reason for that, and you'll see it in just a moment. But the order of everyone is really mixed up, and you scroll down to the bottom, and Lando Norris has had some major issues not setting a time at all, and I was a little bit confused about that, why Norris was down in last. But as we go into the race director, you'll see that he has terminal damage, so Lando Norris crashed during that session, so maybe he brought out a yellow flag and a lot of people couldn't finish their laps. I'm not sure, but Lando Norris crashing in the first qualifying session, so a disaster start to his second season of F1, but a dream start for us, and getting through into Q2. Guan Yu Zhou also doing a decent job up in 18th position, not far off getting through, keep in mind. So yeah, Guan Yu Zhou doing a brilliant effort there. But we move on now to our second lap or our first lap in Q2, I should say, and a mistake already through turn 2 and just getting on the grass on the inside. So not an ideal start, and I feel like in this game, if you get grass on the tyres, it does seem to affect you more than what it did in F1 2019. But we've gotten past that phase now, and we're back up to normal speed, but that is something to consider. But a little bit deep into the right-hander there, and that's going to cost us time to this lap. Not quite as clean as what we managed in Q1, so the lap time probably won't quite be there, and a really awful line through the chicane, and just having to give it away completely there. So yeah, this lap is out the window, but we're still going to bring it around to the end and see what time we can do, just to have something to compare to as we finish our second flying lap, because we only did one lap in Q1 because it was a very good lap, and I didn't really think I could do much better. But we'll do another lap in this session just to see what we can do. So across the line we go, and we are last out of the few people that have set a time. So here we are going again through the chicane, and not quite the ideal line, but a lot better than what we did on the first lap. So through we go the rest of the lap now, and we should be able to find some decent improvements, running as wide as we dare through the right-hander there, and missing the apex of the next corner slightly, and this left-hander causing me trouble all weekend, but getting through there okay this time. And now this final corner, understeering like an absolute boat, but that is the nature of this car at the moment. Very drivable though, and as we cross the line we move up into 9th, but at the end of the session we drop down to 15th position. So a decent effort for us. In actual terms, we're not that far ahead of Guan Yu Zhou, but to get into Q2 is really, really good. So I'm very happy with that. So let's just get into the race and see what we can do there.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today, as we return to Melbourne for the opening race of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to the Australian Grand Prix. So here we are at Albert Park Circuit. 3.3 miles of public roads, closed for the weekend of course, make for a bumpy surface with little undulation. There are 16 corners around the lake, with the best passing opportunities coming at turn 1 and turn 3. Can Mercedes start with victory in their bid to win a 7th consecutive Constructors' title? Could Ferrari or Red Bull establish an advantage early on? And with 22 cars on the grid, how quickly can the new team find their footing? Well, it's great to be back, Anthony Davidson. We've got a lot to talk about this year.
That's right, Crofty. It felt like a long winter, but it's good to finally be back. I have to think the usual suspects will battle it out at the front, but there are always going to be some teething problems early on in the season, so whoever can keep on top of their issues will have the advantage today.
As I mentioned earlier, we're up to 11 teams this season, with a new entry run by, well, of all things, an owner-driver. That's something we haven't seen in this sport since Hector Raback over 4 decades ago. So how are they looking so far?
It's hard to imagine how a small operation like that could survive in the ruthless world of Formula One, and yet here they are, first ever race, looking surprisingly strong. But there are no points for qualifying. Let's see how they fare in the Grand Prix proper.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Albon, Giovinazzi, Ricciardo, Stroll and Kevin Magnussen, Sainz, Perez, Esteban Ocon and Raikkonen, the scientist, Grosjean, Pierre Gasly and Guan Yu Zhou. Latifi, Kvyat, Russell and Lando Norris starts from the back of the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Okay, I know it's your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Don't take unnecessary risks.
Alright, we won't be taking any unnecessary risks. We want to get to the end of the race for this first round. But anyway, the strategy will be 2 sets of softs to a set of medium tyres. Fairly basic. I did try various other combinations, as you can see, but nothing was going to be quite as fast. So that's what we're going to stick with this time, and let's get into it. All 5 lights are on, and lights are out, and we're underway for the Australian Grand Prix. It's a fairly even start between everyone, and the cars ahead weaving around a little bit. Grosjean's down the inside into the first corner. We're going to be side by side as we head through, but we should be able to pull through on the inside of turn 2. Grosjean though still on the outside. He gets good traction out of the corner, and he's going to get in front of us as we head towards turn 3. We switch to the inside, down the inside of Grosjean, almost running into the back of Kimi Raikkonen, but getting it stopped just in time, and we slot in to our grid position that we started in P15, and that is a decent enough start for us. But let's see if we can gain on Kimi Raikkonen. Very close behind him there, but not close enough to go for a dive, and we're just lucky to keep the front wing on there. And as we continue on through the lap, we'll just be trying to find an opportunity really close behind as he gets held up by the train, or just getting caught up
Let's focus now for the rest of the race.
In the braking zones, and through here, very close to making a move there, but that's never really going to work through there. But Raikkonen is just so slow into the braking zones, so we're going to need to try to take advantage of this if we can, and try to gain some positions early in this race. So as we head towards this sharp left-hander, I know he's going to be slow here, so we go down the inside, but I didn't quite have the confidence in the car. We were very slow. We're still on the right-hand side. We're going side by side through the final corner. We make some very awkward contact, run very wide through the final corner, and that was a very clumsy move on Kimi Raikkonen, but we get the move done. I think Raikkonen, though, has a bit of damage from that bit of contact we made, but yeah, that's very, very unfortunate for Kimi Raikkonen. But as we move on, the next car up ahead is Esteban Ocon, but he has an engine explode right in front of us in spectacular fashion, and that is a mechanical failure for the Renault in the first race, so not good signs for the Renault power unit's reliability, but that is the way it goes today for Esteban Ocon on his return to Formula 1, not the return he would have been looking for. I feel like I said this last season, but anyway, yeah, let's continue on through the race, and literally nothing happened in that first stint other than the overtake on Kimi Raikkonen on the first lap, and Esteban Ocon's engine exploding. So into the pits we come at the end of the first stint, putting another set of the soft compound tyres on the car, and out we go to get...
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the
second stint underway. So Pierre Gasly did get the undercut on us, so we're down to effective 14th, but we'll see what we can do as we can continue on through this race. And Gasly
to teammate behind is 11.1 seconds.
Is putting the pressure on the cars ahead as well, but Guan Yu Zhou 11 seconds behind us. That is actually very good, considering he was in a bit of a train of everyone getting held up by Kimi Raikkonen, so he's actually done very well to maintain a relatively close gap to me, and he's had some very good pace ever since he got out of the Raikkonen train. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do later in the season when he doesn't get stuck in a slow train of cars. But anyway, as we continue on, we followed Pierre Gasly and this train in front of us for a long time, just not ever being able to find a way past. We never really got close, we just sort of sat there behind them, but that did allow us to save a lot of fuel.
P13, you are currently in P13. Perez is ahead of you. Gap to car in front is 1.5 seconds. They're on old softs. Kvyat behind. The gap behind us is 4.2 seconds. They're on old softs. You have 4 laps till your pit window opens. 29 laps to go.
But I'll quickly mention about Pierre Gasly. He's going on to another set of soft tyres at this point. So Gasly trying the 3-stop, everyone else around us trying the 2-stop. So it'll be interesting to see how Gasly compares to Kvyat relatively close on track when Gasly made his second stop. So it'll be interesting to see who scores the points out of the two of them. But speaking of Kvyat, here he is making his way past, and through he goes. And there's no point really fighting that. He has more pace at the moment, and it's no real time to be fighting for position, because not long after that we come in for our final stop. Kvyat stays out for another lap. We pit on the same lap earlier in the race, I think, but yeah, this time Kvyat stays out, and we come in to get the undercut on the AlphaTauri. So let's see if we can do that. Medium tyres onto the car this time, and
Complete, go now.
Out we go, and we're actually very close behind.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
See Sergio Perez there, so we could actually have a race on our hands with Sergio Perez. We've just been chipping away and catching up to him slowly, so the Racing Point's clearly not given the pace by Codemasters that they maybe should have, but
okay, we've got plenty of energy. Use the overtake button and have a
we're
go.
going to make the most of that while we can down the inside of Sergio Perez, but we go a little bit too deep, a little bit out in the grass. Perez gets the switch back and goes straight back through. So yeah, we need to go back to the drawing board. But as we head towards the first corner, we're going to go for the move again, round the outside. Not going to work for us there, but can we maybe make a move as we slide through turn 2, and that might ruin the chance that we had along the run to this next corner. Little look, but no way to get through after the slide through turn 2. So yeah, not good enough there, but we're going to keep trying. And here we come on another lap, another opportunity down the inside of turn 3, and we get the move done. Perez, though, with the switchback, is going to have the outside, though, for turn 4. Around the outside, he can't hold it, and we take the position and move ourselves ahead of Sergio Perez and up into 13th position. So that is awesome for us, and in our first race, moving up the order back into 13th, which is where we were running before Gasly got that undercut on us. But I think Gasly, with another stop, will have to give that, or we'll get that spot back, as we have to give the positions to Hamilton and Vettel as they put us a lap down. So it's not like we've had amazing pace in this race, now going a lap behind the leaders. We've just, I guess, had the strategy compared to Gasly, and had the track position. But here is Lance Stroll now with an issue. We go flying straight past him, so that's another free position for us, and it's a mechanical failure for the Canadian.
Virtual safety car. Reduce speed immediately and keep a positive delta. 8 laps to go. VSC ending. We're going green. Maintain positive delta until the green flags.
Yeah, that brings out the VSC for a while,
The
but
track is clear. Green flag.
there was no opportunity to be gained for pit lane, to go into pits, I mean, during that time. So yeah, we just continue on and see what we can do for the rest of this race. The next car up ahead of us is Antonio Giovinazzi, who I don't believe is in a very quick car, so I think we could have an opportunity to catch him. I'm not sure why he is so high up the field at the moment, but he's obviously had a very good qualifying and a very good race.
Caution, caution, yellow flags ahead. No overtaking through the caution zone, be careful.
And another issue, and it's the race leader, Sebastian Vettel, the engine exploding in the Ferrari, and that is another retirement in this race. Sebastian Vettel, an absolute disaster for him, and out of the race he goes. So that is very, very disappointing. So as we come through on the next lap, that elevates us up into 10th. We are now in the points in the first race of the season. That is absolutely incredible stuff. But it's not done yet because Antonio Giovinazzi is not that far up the road. So indeed, as we catch up to him, we're going to make a massive dive into the middle sector, and we slide through and get the move done. And that was a really neat move on Antonio Giovinazzi for 9th place. Here's a look at the replay, and we just had a really nice run. Giovinazzi was very slow into that corner, and we just sent it and went through into 9th position, and that was really nice. Giovinazzi saw it coming and didn't make things too hard for us, but yeah, well, he didn't have much choice. Yeah, we just took that position away. And this is actually the last lap for us. It says 57 to 58, but because we're a lap down, this is the final lap. And Giovinazzi, though, coming back at us as we had a bit of an awkward run through the chicane, but we defend the line there, and all we have to do now is keep it on the track, and we will bring home 9th position in the first race for the team. And this will be an absolutely incredible result with just one corner between us and the finish line. There's not really anything that can stop us from here. So it's time to celebrate this result, a 9th position in our first race.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
Unbelievable stuff. On legendary difficulty as well. Insane.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Albert Park. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions, and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today, and the results speak for themselves.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
So as Lewis Hamilton with the race win, Valtteri Bottas taking home P2, and Albon on the podium. Nice work by the Thai driver there.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. After an incredible performance, Lewis Hamilton secures the top spot in the drivers' championship. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I think for driver of the day, I'd probably pick Lando Norris. He lived up to every inch of his reputation today, and I think he'll be going home, quite rightly, a bit proud of himself.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes move to the top of the table. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Alright, so that is the end of our very first race for the Galactic Thunder F1 team. So that's awesome stuff. But really a very lucky race. Mostly everything went our way that could have. We had a really good qualifying, and some issues for a few others in qualifying really helped us in the early phases. Lando Norris obviously had some good pace. Yeah, what else to say about this race? Guan Yu Zhou had a pretty decent one as well. He gained a few positions from where he started. So yeah, good race for him as well. It wasn't just me. I know we didn't see him too much, but yeah, this bump here, and I think the one on the next corner there, very awkward with Kimi Räikkönen, but that second bump is the one that did the damage for him, I think. And that, although it wasn't intentional, really helped our race, because Räikkönen really dropped off the pace after that and held up a lot of cars behind him. But anyway, that was good for us on that front, but obviously not the way you want to do it. But I have a feeling we may have been able to hold those positions anyway, because we did, especially on fresh tyres, have some lightning pace. So I may put the difficulty up again heading into Bahrain, we'll see. But a really good first race, and we've already got one of the 2 points finishes we need to get the gold bonus for the TriStar sponsor. So that's really good for us as well. So yeah, all in all, a very successful first episode. So yeah, really looking forward to this. I really love the way that the car's handling as well. It's very sort of smooth and drivable. Understeers a lot, but honestly, I'm not too phased by that, as we're having a cracking battle here with Sergio Perez. I really enjoyed making that overtake. It was probably the highlight of the race for me. But anyway, across the line we go.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Yeah, we did gain a lot of positions. There was a lot of issues for other cars, so yeah, all the work we've done in durability really helped.
You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret?
Not really any secret. We just have been working really hard, and yeah, we're getting the results now.
You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip?
Not really. It was just, it just happens every now and again, you know? No? Maybe a little bit?
Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Claire. So, that brings the Australian Grand Prix weekend to a close, and this Acclaim stuff, I still don't really understand how it works. But there it is. I don't understand quite how the team Acclaim works, if that actually goes off the driver Acclaim of you and your teammate, or if it's something totally separate. But anyway, we get a nice bit of money for our efforts, so that is all good. But now we have more management stuff to do, more confusing stuff to do. So yeah, let's get into that. So firstly, we need to fill in the 2 days between now and the next race weekend. So we're going to select the reaction training for Guan Yu Zhou. That will help his awareness stat, so less mistakes basically for him in the future, and that'll fill in that gap. Next, we can now choose a secondary sponsor, because our team Acclaim has leveled up enough for that. So I'm going to choose Atlantic. They have the highest consistent weekly payout of just constantly getting a good amount of money, and the goal bonus is decent as well, and the goal is complete 75 laps, which at some tracks is basically unfailable, at Monaco and Austria, and that includes your teammates' laps as well. So at Spa, maybe that would be more difficult, but yeah, that's a relatively easy goal for effectively doubling the amount of income we get from that sponsor. So yeah, that should really help us out. Next up, we can afford the first upgrade to the analysis suite, whatever that is, not really sure, but it increases Guan Yu Zhou's experience rating, which can only be a good thing, because the higher their experience is, the more resource points we get. So that I'm sure is a good thing. Not whether it's the best thing to invest in right at the start, I don't know, but yeah, more resource points means we can upgrade the car faster. So that's what I'm going with there, and it's also the cheapest upgrade and the only one we can afford at this particular time. So I don't really know how all this works, to be completely honest, but anyway, let's hope that that's worthwhile something doing. Yep, that's English. Anyway, so yeah, we've done that. We can also afford now another power unit upgrade and another chassis upgrade to the weight reduction, so we're going to put those on the car, or we're going to purchase those upgrades as well. But yeah, that is just about it for this episode. So I will say thank you very much for watching, if you've watched all the way to the end till now, and I will see you for the next episode in Bahrain. Goodbye.